we're going to move through a sequence. It is going to be hands-free. Well, not completely hands-free, but you don't need working hands and arms to do it particularly. Work to your own capacity, do what you can. And if you need to stop and break this up into sections, that's fine. I will also supply the program in sections. So you just need to find a position on your mat, somewhere comfortable. If you like to flow, then you want to be at the back of your mat because we'll practice roll downs. There'll be a lot of Pilates in this session. So, well, there always is. So you're going to apply your Pilates to this. And if you need reminding of all of your Pilates setup, I'll put the link to the setup instructions in the comments. I'm going to assume you know what you're doing otherwise. So draw the shoulders back and down, crown of the head is lifted. Just bring your attention to your feet. We'll start there. Press the outer edges of your feet down into the ground, not so firmly that you tense up and become rigid. Just connect yourself to the floor and then bring your attention to your big toes and press those down a little bit too. You should notice a feeling of activation running up through your legs, all the way up from your pelvic floor to the crown of your head. Look for that. If you can't find it, pulse a few times and notice. You want to try and keep that sense of activation even as we start shifting our weight around our feet. So connect with that feeling from the base of your pelvis all the way up. The waist, chest, crown of the head. It's a lifted feeling, not rigid. Hands to your hips. You're going to start shifting your weight around your feet. You might have noticed if you're shifting your weight around your feet in circles, keeping the toes connected to the floor and the heels. If you're shifting your weight around your feet, you can't very well keep pressing the outer edges of your feet down because your weight is shifting between different sides of the feet. And that's why you want to feel that connection with your deep core. So experiment with this if you need more time. So yeah, just keep this movement going. If you feel like you've lost your core, i.e. you can't feel your waist drawing in, you can't feel that lift in your pelvic floor, or you've gone the other way and become completely rigid, then reset, start again, have another go, or switch directions on your circles and start to cultivate it over the course of this warming up section. It takes a minute. Sometimes it takes a minute. So give yourself some grace. With these circles, we're just going to slowly center them again. So bring your focus towards the central part of your feet. Notice, has your back started to arch a lot? If it has, just draw your belly in a little bit, draw your tailbone down a little bit, and bring your weight nice and centered on your feet. Relax your arms down. You're going to shift your weight forward towards your toes, grip the floor with your toes, and then gently take your attention, your focus towards your heels. So pull your weight back. Do that a few more times. Draw forward, grip your toes, draw back, press your heels. You'll notice when you go back, your core will connect a little bit more firmly. I just realized I'm basically camouflaging myself against my walls with my green t-shirt. Sorry. It's tough. I'm not changing. Good. Brilliant. All right, so do a few more of those, as many as you need of these. They're really valuable exercises. We're now going to center this, and guess what? Heel raises. So you're just going to float your arms up to less than shoulder height, and then heels up to, and then float back down. We're going to do about 8 of these because I want you to start stabilizing. So when you first start with these, they can be, depending on how tired you are, how cold you are. There can be a lot of forward, backward shifting. There can be a lot of staggering and stumbling and a rigid feeling of hoiking up and down. I want these to be so smooth and so controlled that if I had a video of just your head, it would look like you were standing on a pedestal that was just floating up and floating down. That's your aim. Keep drawing in through your waist. That lovely feeling of like you're wearing a very expensive suit, which in many ways, your body is your expensive suit. Well, in all the ways, it is the most expensive suit you'll ever own. And I don't need to tell you that, you know. Keep it going. We've done more than 8, but we're going to hold the next one. Hold the lift. Lower your right hand and your left heel, and we're going to start pedaling. Same thing, nice and smooth. You want minimal shuffling and wiggling anywhere else, so just keep that control through your center. The point of this work is not for it to be hard, it's for it to be under control, so really smooth. No rigid up, down, jerky movements, really, really graceful. I mean, as far as pedaling can be graceful, but you get my point. Like you're moving through water or moonwalking. Good. 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. From this position, I've got my left arm up, my right knee forward. Doesn't matter which side you're on. I'm just going to pick up my right knee, balancing on my left leg, and hold this here. Drawing in and up, nice and tall, soft in my standing leg, but not so soft that my knee's totally bent. So it's a straight leg-ish, but it's not rigid and locked. We're going to switch. So arm and leg come down, center through your feet, right leg presses into the floor, opposite side lift, and we're going to hold it. Same thing. Notice, have you dropped into your standing hip? Are you sticking your bum out? Can you stabilize this? So the weight going down your standing leg is basically in exactly the same way as if you had both your feet on the floor, only it's heavier because only one of your feet's on the floor. Good. Smoothly down. Reset if you need to. Reconnect with your core, tilt your butt under, pelvic floor up, shoulders relax, all of that stuff. Otherwise, we're going to add on. So first, let's practice the twist. We're going to do arches. As you know, we do these a lot. Arms forward. You don't have to do the arms. If your shoulders and hands are in pain, you can bring your hands together at your heart with your tall finger under your chin and thumbs resting on your breastbone. But otherwise, arms are forward, palms facing each other, shoulders are relaxed, waist is in. Just take the elbow back, rotate from the waist, and then bring this back to center. Staying on one side. So I just want to train your body, and all of the movement here is from the navel up, your hips stay forward. So if you had headlights attached to your hips, they would not move. They would shine on the wall in front of you. Good. Let's switch sides. So the reason I'm keeping this movement light is that we want to add it to legs in a moment. And actually, I'm more concerned with your core control than how active your arms and shoulders are, especially if you're having any pain with your arms and shoulders and hands. We're going to do 2 more on this side. Just really concerned with that beautiful spiral from the navel up to the top of the head. And then we're going to release arms. So I'm just going to give myself a little bit more room here. We're going to connect these movements together. There's 2 approaches. One is to stay on one side. The other is to move from side to side. Moving from side to side is more challenging. I want you to do what you do well rather than just doing whatever's the hardest. Doing whatever's the hardest is a foolhardy approach to everything. Challenge yourself, sure, but if it doesn't work, just do one side at a time. So most people do the hardest one first, so let's do that first. We're going to move from side to side. Arms come up first. Ground yourself. It's going to be as you raise your right leg, your right arm draws back. You can gaze forward, or if you're really balanced, gaze to the side, come back to center, and then switch. That's the hard one. The easier one is to do reps on one side and then the other. I'm going to do another 5 on each side from here. It doesn't matter how many you do. I'd rather you pause, go really slowly, and make them good, because there's a lot happening here. These are staff pose with arches. Most people find them really challenging, but none of my people find them that hard because we do them so often. It's a really complex movement. Obviously, I've lost count. I'm going to do 2 more sets, 2 on each side. Can't count to anything. Can't count to 3. That's 1. Well done. We're going straight into bodyweight squats. Squeeze your pelvic floor, float down, float your arms back, and then bring this all the way back up. Let's go again. Exhale, float down. I'm not going very low, if you can see. Just warming into this. Notice how much your back is arching. See if you can connect a little bit more to your pelvic floor so that your spine stays nice and long. Feet are hip distance apart. Knees are neither dropping in nor dropping out. And you should be starting to feel quite warm. Down the sides of the legs, notice how your feet are rooting into the floor. You want to make sure that you're not getting too light on any part of your foot. 1 more. We're going to hold this one. So go back. If you're able, just extend your arms from side to side. Tailbone drawing down, belly drawing up, gazing towards the top of your space. If your arms are hurting, then skip this. Thighs should be burning. Good. And now we're going to relax the arms. Scoop your belly in. Start to lift your hips up and roll yourself down into a forward fold. And you can take opposite elbow to opposite hand and have a little sway out in ragdoll. I'm going to roll up from here shortly. If this makes you feel sick, then you can go anywhere that is a little bit of a release for your legs. Good. When you're ready, let's bring your fingertips either to your thighs or to the floor and start to press your feet down. Scoop your pelvic floor up and slowly roll yourself up through your spine, scooping your abs as you go, articulating through your vertebra. There needs to be a sense that you're controlling this journey up. I know it's not possible for your spine always to round all the way up, but you are aiming to find that nice abdominal squeeze in line with your movement. And we're just going to carry on with that, adding in the squat. So chin to chest, scoop your ribs, chest in, ribs in, pelvic floor up, and you can come forward. Obviously, if you've got a stabilized spine, then you're going to have to do all of that work with your pelvic floor and your abs without rounding through the spine. When you get far enough that you need to bend your knees and get your fingers to the floor, slide your fingers forward, sit your hips back, nice square spine, go as deep as you can, and then scoop it all the way back up. Keep everything neatly tucked in, chin to chest. So in this case, rolling down is not so much about the rounding, unless you're really managing to find that rounding. Is more to do with how your abdominal muscles pair with your back muscles. So as you tense your abdominal muscles, the back muscles relax. Bend your knees, slide your fingers forward, sit your hips back, nice neutral spine. Hold it, and then power straight back up. Relax. Let's do 1 more of those. Scoop. Lower yourself down. Sometimes it's useful to think of coming up and over something. So a gym ball, a beach ball, it's an up and over feeling in your abs. Fingertips to the floor, bend the knees, sit the hips back, slide your arms forward and hold it. Hold it, hold it, hold it. We're going to come back up to staff pose with the right leg lifted. So when you're ready, arms can relax. See if you can come straight up with your right knee lifted. And now you're going to step the right foot forward, best you can. Arms are going to come to goal post if you can. If you can't, then do whatever feels right for your hands, maybe hands to hips. Otherwise, goal post. We're going to take some little dips here, so make sure that your knees don't wobble around. Back heel is lifted. Exhale, lunge and dip. Inhale, straighten all the way up. Exhale, lunge and dip. Doesn't matter how low you go on these. but I want you to not be sticking your butt out too much. Butt should be going straight down rather than back and forward. Good, 2 more. Remember, breaks are acceptable. All the way up, step forward. Well done. Let's do the other leg. So you're going to slide your right leg back, find the position, left knee nice and stable over the ankle, back heel lifted, arms up, tuck your butt under, tuck your ribs in, take the time to get the setup right, and then 1, doesn't matter how low you go, all the way up, 2, straight legs at the top, 3, remember arms are optional, 4, hands can be on hips, 5, last one, Bernie, right? 6, step it forward. Woo. Right, need to do a thigh stretch. You can either do it standing, grab a foot, or you can come to kneeling and just put some padding under your knees. I prefer to get a better stretch if I'm kneeling. So this is going to bring us down to the mat. General kneeling lunge. So I'm going to start with my right knee down, left leg forward, tuck your butt under, and just start to gently hinge into this nice stretch. If it's not good for you, then standing stretch. You can lie on your front as well, grab your foot, any stretch for your thighs. The good thing about this one is it helps you keep your core. So shoulders relaxed, tailbone tucked under so your hips are squeezed. So you're still active here. If you're doing the standing variation, you need to be doing the same thing. Don't arch into your low back a lot or relax into it a lot. Let's hold this one here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're just going to lengthen that left leg out, toes up, hips square. If this is all right for you, tuck your left thigh back into the hip joint. You want your hips to be as square as they can be here. Lengthen out. You're looking for softness in this knee. You shouldn't be locked, but not too bent. And you're looking for a really decent, moderate stretch into your left leg. Bend it as much as you need. Flat back. You can always use blocks here if it's better for you. Good. Release. Step the left foot back, right foot forward, or just switch legs if you went the other way. Make sure you're square in your hips. Tuck your butt under, draw your belly in and up. We're still here in strength mode. Even though we're stretching under control. Just going to hinge forward and back. Now, when you can do this under control and your hips become flexible, you can get really deep stretch without losing your deep core connection. For most people, it's more effective to stay square and do it well. So if you're not sure, you can explore. But if you can get that deeper stretch without relaxing into your lower back, without releasing your pelvic floor or deep abdomen, and stay here and enjoy it, there's lots and lots and lots of stretch to be had. I'm going to mediate this a little bit. Hold this one. Shoulders relaxed over hips. Looking for about 10 seconds. It's just a maintenance stretch. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Lengthen out for the hammies. Hips square. Right thigh tucked in. Toes can be up. A little bit of softness in your front knee. I like to be lengthened because it gives me a better stretch, and pretty much everyone who's hypermobile prefers a bit more weight into this stretch. However, if you're new to feeling those stretches, then you won't feel that way. Just don't lock your knee. So yeah, really nice long feeling of length through the back of the leg. Yeah, that's pretty tasty. It needs to be moderate. You don't want to be so tight that it's breathtaking or knackering. Fabulous. Okay, let's bend back and gonna move on to the next section. So, section 2 is the seated work. Let's start. I would recommend sitting on a cushion to start with, because you don't want to be collapsed in your abs. It's better to be sitting, to have your hips on something. We all know this, but I like to say it because sometimes there's a moment, and I do it too, when I train Pilates with my coach, you're sort of like, oh, I can't be bothered to reach for my cushion or my block or whatever. And then you realize that that was a mistake, because all the exercises are now involving way more effort than they should. So that's why we're going to sit on a cushion. And I've talked long enough that you should have been able to grab your cushion by now. Hips are a little bit elevated. I've gone for cross legs. You don't have to be in cross legs. You need to be sitting in a way that your abdomen is drawn in easily and your spine is tall, and there's no slouching and there's no rounding through your shoulders. It's up to you to make sure that's happening, and recognize this. If you've ignored that instruction, then you're not going to get the benefit of the movement. So do take the time to notice. If you're too tired to sit tall, then maybe you can do this section later, another time, grab a snack, whatever you need. So we're just going to build this. We're going to go back to the twists. So cathedral fingers, because we want to keep this minimal on the shoulders to start with, and then we can build it as we go along. You want your thumb resting on your breastbone, tallest finger on your chin, shoulders relaxed. All your attention is on your waist. Exhale to rotate. Your hips don't move, your knees don't move. Everything is from the waist up. And exhale to rotate. So we're going to do 6 in total. That's 5 more on each side. Have all of your focus on your waist. Now, this is not a complicated movement. And the reason I always stay here in this very simple version is, especially when you don't get to use your hands for your waist work, this never fails. I can always feel my waist because I always do it properly. So become aware. How much are you hoiking from the shoulders and yanking your neck around? If you do this well, you absolutely feel it. And obviously, I've not been counting while I'm talking. So I'm going to say I'm pretty sure that this is number 6, but I'm going to do one more because it never hurts. Excellent. I'm going to bring this back to center. Switch the cross. Next level. So this time, genie arms. Again, in fact, actually, let's not do genie arms. We're going to do dumb waiters. So if your shoulders hurt, then you can go for genie arms, which are much softer. But we're going to do dumb waiters because this is specifically to get into the upper back and shoulder region. And then we can do a different kind of twist later. So elbows are tucked in, belly is drawn in and up. Elbows are just, don't let them move. You need to keep them in. Palms are forward. So you're just going to keep your spine nice and tall. Take your right arm out to the side. So you want to imagine you can't move your spine. And then bring it back to center. Take the other arm out to the side. Got to tell you, do you find this movement slightly tortury? Because it's so controlled and it all has to come from the shoulders. So I'm going to do another 4 on each side, set of 6. If you want to do more, feel free to do more. I see, I wasn't even talking and I still lost count. But yeah, I'll do an approximation. And do you know what? I'm going to do one more on each side, right and left. Who knows if that was the right amount. From here, just relax your arms and we'll take some cats and cows. So this is just a chance to reset a little bit. If you want to do more dumb waiters, please do pause, do more, and then come back to this. Otherwise, inhale, lift your heart, lengthen your spine. Exhale, scoop your belly in and around. Inhale, open it up. Keep this movement going. When you do cats and cows seated, they're much more core oriented. But don't forget to get that little tilt of the pelvis, because that's going to be important when we come to the heavier core work. So really focus in on the pelvic curl. Tuck your tailbone under, scoop your pelvis up and in, pelvic floor, not pelvis. And then open up, lengthen out. This is less important, but it's a nice stretch. And it helps you find that differentiation. So as you take this little scoop here, C-shaped spine, lots of compression between your ribs and your hips. It's not really compression, but it's a feeling of squeezing them together. Rib-hip connection. And you should feel your low back relax a lot. Doesn't matter whether the spine is actually C-shaped. So, you know, when I say that, when you work with spinal fusion, you know, the spine doesn't really do that. So it's about the feeling of hugging your front abs so that your back muscles feel very malleable. And that's what we're after. So it all comes from the base of the pelvic floor, squeezes in, up and back, and then you can compress, squeeze your ribs and hip muscles, your rectus abdominis together, and get a lot of movement through your spine. Same with the chest. You squeeze your pecs in, tuck your ribs in, and all of that upper back frees up. And equally, you want to keep your deep core connected as you open up through the front body. Shoulders draw back and down, chest broadens, collarbone opens up. It's a nice feeling, but it's controlled. Okay, last one. Sorry, that was a bit loud. Don't know why I shouted. Enthusiasm. Bring it back to center. We're going to slightly change this up. And I'm going to suggest a different leg position. Some people find it really, really uncomfortable but it is going to start warming up your hip flexors. I don't want your hip flexors and legs to be tired because we're going to be doing some work in boat position next. So if this is a good position for you, stay here, but reverse the cross for the first set and reverse the cross again for the second set. We're going to, otherwise, you can stretch your legs out. Don't collapse. It's really important not to collapse, or you can sit with your knees bent. We're going to draw in and up. This is going to get harder now, and you do need to control it. Shoulders back and down, ribs slightly tucked in, neutral spine, arms are coming forward, and they're shoulder distance apart. So they're a little wide, but not as wide as your legs or out wide completely. So you should still be able to see your thumbs in your peripheral vision. Now we are going to rotate the whole of the upper body from the waist, keeping your gaze between your arms and then back through center and then over the other way. So you can imagine you're holding a gym ball and your gaze is just resting on top of that gym ball. Hips don't move. My legs are squeezed and tensed. They don't have to be, but they are. And we're just working to move the whole spine in a straight line. Neck, shoulders are all moving with the arms. This is level 1 seated saw. However, I call it shit lighthouse because there's a better name. I think we'll all agree. Because basically, your arms are like a shit lighthouse. It makes sense in a way. Even if it doesn't make sense, it's still funny. It's funny if you're me. And everybody else I've said it to finds it funny. However, they might just be being nice. Nobody has to be nice to me. I'm paid to do this. Last one over to the left. If your arms are aching, then you can always bring the elbows in and palms out and do the same movement. It is the same, or you can do your cathedral fingers. We're going to pause for a moment and do a few light side bends. Remember, they don't need to be bends. They just need to feel like extensions through your side body. If you need to change your leg position, please do. If you're in cross legs, don't uncross them yet. Fingertips, oh, in fact, let's go for 90-90. If you're in cross legs and you don't like 90-90, which I know that you don't, you can just keep staying cross legs if you prefer it. A lot of people don't like the hip movement here. Fingertips to the floor, and it's your fingertip that's next to the leg that's behind you, stay down. Right arm goes up and over. I don't know why I said that, because we're going to do both sides. It doesn't matter how far you go. Your waist is staying in. You're getting the extension through one side and a bit of compression through the other side. Now, we are right in the middle of a Pilates class, so you are not relaxing into this. You are controlling it. There's not much weight going through your fingers. Fingertips to the floor. Now, if you need to rest, then great, fine, rest. That's totally fine. But if you're wanting to really make the push for strength, then your core is still in 30%. Your pelvic floor is still up 30%, and you are not putting weight through your hands, or you can float your arms from side to side. The movement becomes much lighter, but your arms aren't connected to anything. So you have to use your abs and try not to shift your weight too much around your hips if you're doing this version, because there is a reason for this version, and that is to make it harder. Last one. Good. We're going to come back. Level 2, seated saw. Now, we've just done the side bends. If you're in cross legs, then switch the cross. Now, it's going to be a little trickier. You might find it better to be in bent knees here, or in more of a butterfly position, because we are going to rotate and extend. So you need to be able to control your legs. See how you get on. Normally, you would do this with stretched out legs. So same thing. Legs stretched out, not too wide, just wide enough that they're not square. Really tall through the spine, waist drawn in and up. Crown of the head lifted. Arms are going to go a little bit wider. You've done some side bends, so waist is ready. If you need to bring your hands in, you can, but you're going to want to use them a little bit. So see how you go first. Shoulders are relaxed. You don't need to strain here. Rotate your arms to say you're right. Then your right arm goes behind you. Left arm goes across to your right leg, and you pulse forward twice. Come back to center. Switch sides. Left arm goes behind you, thumb down, and pulse forward, forward. Bring it back to center. Rotate. Pulse, pulse. The aim is to keep your spine long. Pulse, pulse. And then you can smooth this out. And so it becomes more of a smooth rotation. So as you take the arm behind you, you're rotating that thumb down. The little finger is pulsing towards the toes on the front arm. I hate describing this movement, because when they describe it in the Pilates class, they use lots and lots of sort of technical language. Externally rotate this and internally rotate that and blah, blah, blah. It's really fucking annoying, because it's just double Dutch for most people. Follow the movement. Back thumb down, little finger extending towards your front leg as you cross. Watch it, follow it. The aim here is really to avoid the rounding through the spine. In time, you want to be able to get your little finger to your little toe, or maybe even beyond it, but that's not the point of this movement. The point is, by now, you should be feeling fairly tired, aware of your waist, aware of your arms, aware of your legs. Good. Last one. Bring it back to center. Have a little wiggle. If you're in cross legs, you might want to take a butterfly. In fact, let's just take a butterfly pose. Soles of the feet together. And just gently round forward. Doesn't matter whether you're rounding, lengthened. I'm going to move the cushion out from under my hips. Don't have to have the cushion under your hips for seated saw, but I don't think it helps to take it away, because people collapse into the positions. Lengthen out. Lovely stuff. From here, hopefully you can remember which direction your 90-90 went into. We're going to go the other way. So for me, it's my left leg going out to the side, right shin forward, proper 90-90. Ideally, you can put your cushion back under your hips if you want. We're going to keep it light, just like we did the first set. So fingertips to the floor, palms lifted, and we're just extending. And the aim is to extend the side body, not bend deeply. So just move from side to side. And if you don't like the 90-90, cross legs is fine. Just do the opposite cross if you can. Or you can be sitting on your knees if you want. That's fine. Whatever feels good. We just want a little bit of side bend. And core should feel like it's been worked somewhat. Got one more seated exercise, and then we'll do some reclining. There's lots of levels to all of this, but everything we've done is pure Pilates. So by now, most people would be feeling that they've worked their core. If you weight train at the gym, then you might not feel that you're exhausted and, you know, close to death if you're used to heavy weight training, but you should certainly be connected to that feeling of having worked your core muscles pretty hard with all of these exercises, as is the case. You can stop, we've had enough. As is the case with Pilates, with all of these exercises, it's knowing that you've done them well. And if you find them quite heavy and difficult to control, then you know you've done them well. If you know you've done them well and you don't, mostly you can feel the benefit the next day, or even as you go on in your day, you still know. It doesn't have to be hard for you to know you've done it well, but once it becomes hard, you know you're on, right? So we all know when we're slightly cheating and we've collapsed and we're just really floppy. That's not the aim of Pilates. It's to make it work for you, to make the work beneficial. Do less, keep it lighter if it doesn't work. I don't know why I'm lecturing you. You know this. Okay, feet to the floor. It's because I'm on my own. And when I'm on my own, I just start, you know, shooting the shit with myself. Right. Feet to the floor, knees bent. If you're not up for this, don't bother with it. We're going to go for boat pose. If you're feeling feisty, you can do rolling up, which is that pelvic tilt, rolling all the way down, but I would actually rather you didn't. So I would rather do that with you in person. I feel this is better. So you can have your hands lightly under your thighs or floating in front of you. We've done so much that I'm actually feeling fairly strong. I'm going to float my arms forward, and if I start to give up, then I will take hold of my legs. The aim isn't to hold your legs, it's to just feel a bit more stable. Ribs are firmly tucked in, hips are firmly tucked in, so they're squeezing towards each other. The core is super connected, rigid. I'm going to sit back a little way until I can feel that it's slightly shaky. You should not feel this in your back. Gaze is up, shoulders are relaxed. Lift one leg, squeeze your thigh towards your chest, lower it down. Lift the other leg, lower it down. Exhale to lift. There should be full tension in this movement, and it's not about tensing up your leg. The leg itself is pretty relaxed, but your hips will start to shout at you. Front of the hips, hip flexors. Keep it going. Imagine you're trying to use your abs to glue and your thighs to glue them together, basically. So you're squeezing in as tightly as you can. If you want, you can take your arms forward and slide your knees up and down your arms. Aim to get your knee as far up as possible. You will know about it if you do that, because your abs will start to really tighten up as they get closer in, probably ready to stop. But if you've got it in you, try bringing one leg in. See if you can slide the other leg in and hold it. This is tight. You could be a little further out, but this should be in your core and not your back. A worst case scenario, you're balancing on your ass, which I did for years. When you're ready, one leg down, then the other, hands to the floor, well done, and you're going to roll yourself onto the floor. Now, I always do those exercises at full throttle. So for me, that's quite enough. But if you're like, yes, I love that burn, go back and do them again. From here, now we're reclining. We're going to start with a full body stretch and then move into the third section, of the session, which is your reclining Pilates. So start with your full body stretch, lengthen everything out. You can take your arms up if you want to, but you don't have to. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. This is part 3. Reclining Pilates. We've already done a really good prep, which was legs, a really good seated section, which was obliques, upper back, core, and then that little bit of absolute torture that is your hip flexors, boat pose, really strong core work in boat pose, compressions in boat pose. Now we're going to go for, we're going to start with single leg bridge. So we're just going to neutralize through the spine a little bit. We never start with just single leg bridge, do we? We always start by setting up semi-supine position. Feet and knees hip distance apart. Feet want to be just away from your fingertips, and you just need to adjust your feet in order to make this go. You're not going to let your knees wobble around, so you need to just slightly press your feet into the floor. Think about the work that we did right at the beginning, grounding through the feet. It's important here because it connects you to your pelvic floor as well. Check that your hips are neutral. Lower back is a blueberry height off the floor to start with. This will change, but this is your starting position. Shoulders are relaxed. Neck is long. You can draw your chin down in and lift your head. Tuck your chin in and lower your head back down. You can have something under your head when we're doing core work here, but when we're doing glute bridge, ideally nothing under your head. Make sure that you're breathing deep and wide into your ribs, lateral thoracic breathing. So you can lie here and practice your breathing first, waist drawn in, pelvic floor lifted, breathe wide into your ribs rather than up into your stomach to the best of your ability. When you're ready, when you've done all of that, we're going to move through pelvic curls. So on your exhale, push your feet down, exhale to roll your pelvic floor up, lower back flattens. Inhale, we're coming back to that neutral spine. We're not tipping back the other way. Come to neutral. Just keep this movement going for a few rounds. You want to just connect with your glutes and your backs of the thighs, fronts of the thighs, everything. You just want this nice rolling movement. Lower back rolling up and down against the floor. You can feel that journey through imprint. Imprint is the feeling of drawing your lower back into the floor and how it affects your core. So none of this should be unintentional. It shouldn't be rigid, but it should be very much muscular work. But yeah, not difficult. We're just going to lengthen out this movement. So lead with your knees. Continue the pulling upwards. Press your feet down, complete your pelvic curl, and just continue to draw your knees towards your toes. Or you can think of yourself as pulling your spine up by your tailbone, so your tailbone stays tucked. And even though it looks like I've got my back arch, I haven't. Wait for an exhale at the top and then reverse the movement. So your spine lowers down. Your intention is one vertebra at a time. Obviously, that's not the case for you or a lot of people. But the intention is to release your abdominal muscles with a level of control that you can imagine placing each vertebra down one at a time. When you are rolling down, you end up in neutral spine, so that little blueberry gap under your low back. As you peel up, you're flattening that gap to get through to all of the vertebra. You're coming up at most to the tops of the shoulders, but you're not arching your back, so core is neatly hugged in. So you're like an ironing board from knees to shoulders. And as you roll down, same thing, one vertebra at a time, finishing in neutral. We're going to hold the next one if you're up for it and take some single leg glute bridge, or in Pilates, in the case of Pilates, it is just glute bridge. So when you're up, the aim is to try and hold your hips up. I like to have my hands down by my side for this. Shift your weight into your right leg. We're bringing the left leg up into single tabletop and then lowering the left leg down and then right leg. You can roll down in between. If you're all right here, we're going to do 2 more on each leg. No sinking in the hips, no hanging into your low back, moderate connection in your core, butt squeeze. It's probably a bit much to do 3 of these in one go, but do the best you can. We're going to finish on the right. Good, right leg comes down. Whew, there we go. Now, if you're lifting heavy weights in the gym, that is doable. It gets better and better. The idea is, let's hug the knees in and have a squeeze and a rock from side to side. The idea is that you keep your hips at a height where they don't wobble around as you do these leg lifts. So, you know, if you've rolled up and your hips are a foot off the ground and you can't control it, then you just bring them to a hover. You learn and you practice. But hopefully that was a good enough blast of activity for you. I might have done it too fast, but I know that you will have adjusted accordingly. I'm working at the pace that we normally work, so hopefully you can feel that that's okay, but it varies from day to day, doesn't it? Right, let's come back to semi-supine setup, feet hip distance apart. They can be a little further away from your body. We want stable core, so just a little gap under your lower back. Arms are down by your sides, but with space for your shoulders to relax. Draw your waist in, just lightly corseted. Pelvic floor is up. Your hips aren't going to move. Nothing in your body is going to move apart from your right leg, which we're going to lift into single tabletop. Check that your hips are stable. We're going to go straight into level 2 single leg stretch. So no tension in your shoulders, no movement in your hips or your core. Everything is completely chill apart from this one leg that's lengthening forward and then easing back. Now then, the leg actually should be pretty relaxed. We're going to do 6 of these. I'm going to about a foot off the floor. So my leg isn't straightening out completely and flattening to the floor. It's just a little bit bent, and that helps to control this movement. There should be no rocking in the, or you're aiming to not rock between the hips. There's no movement in your abs, and your left leg is still 2, but you're not rigid. Last one here. Obviously, I didn't count that well. Bring it back in, and then place your right foot down. If you need to reset, reset. Take the time to make sure, is your spine still neutral, shoulders still relaxed, lateral thoracic breathing, breathing deep and wide into your rib cage. Stomach tucked in, press down into your right leg, lift your left leg into single tabletop, knee over hip, shin parallel with the floor. Everything else is totally under your control. There's no movement anywhere in your body or bottom as your leg extends. Good. Now, I'll tell you something about this. As I've done a lot more weight training, these exercises, they're not so hard to do. And I know that if a Pilates teacher chucked some of their special gadgets under my back, that they would see very little wobble, differential between my sides or any movement, because I can feel it against the floor. But I can still feel the work in my abs, and I can feel the benefit of it. So I hope, even if you're finding it really hard, because when I first started doing these exercises, I would have to work hard to feel the muscles. So I hope you're feeling the benefit. We've definitely done more than 6, but that's fine. Let's bring this in. We're switching legs, and we're going straight over to level 3. So if you need a stretch in between, pause here. It's a full body stretch. Lengthen out your arms and legs. Otherwise, reset your semi-supine should you need to. Press your left leg down. Right leg starts in single tabletop, but now you're going to extend the leg so it's straight. It might not be at 90 degrees to the floor, because that will often pull a person's hips out of position. So for me, if I'm keeping my hips in position, my leg, because it's relaxed, is just slightly less than perpendicular. That's totally fine, better. Draw in. This movement feels significantly trickier. And we're just taking this leg about in line with the knee and then bringing it back up. Let's do 5 more of these. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Bend the knee, bring the right leg down. Right side of my body feels much warmer than the left. Let's do the second side. Press the right leg down, left leg lifted. Make sure there's no moving in your lower back, no moving in your hips. Straighten up that left leg. Doesn't matter if it's perfectly perpendicular. When you're ready, exhale, lengthen it down so it's just about parallel with your grounded leg, and then bring it back up. Control it. Legs are heavy. I'm counting these. That's why I'm silent. Last one. I know I've counted them wrong, but I'm still trying. Bend the knee. Bring your foot to the floor. Hopefully everything feels nice and even now. Okay, we're going to up this to double tabletop. So that preps you quite well for double tabletop. We do not just throw ourselves into double tabletop because it's work, right? So you're going to pick up your right leg again. Keep it bent. Imprint, which means hugging your ribs and hips towards each other. Low back comes much closer to the floor. And you're going to just carefully pick up the other leg. Keep that, there's a small gap under your lower back, but it's not as big as a blueberry. It's about the size of a postcard. So imprint means just pressing ribs and hips down towards each other and down towards the floor. This should feel like being in plank. In fact, in some ways, it's even harder because you're not grounding through your arms and legs, which help in plank. If you're able to hold this a bit longer, hold it, hold it, hold it. Good. I'm going to lower my right leg first and then my left. And I'm ready for a full body stretch. Lengthen out. We're going to push this a little bit further, right? This is more advanced Pilates work. We're building towards stronger core work. And hopefully this core work will not feel as bad, because we've layered up these movements quite thoroughly. If you're done, you're done, right? So you can stop at any time. This next step is going to prep us for scissors. Scissors, we're pretty much prepped for scissors anyway, but we're going to go for some curl-ups. We're going to do these curl-ups with hands on thighs. If you would prefer to have your hands behind your ears, as long as you're not tensing your shoulders, that's fine, or you can have them down by your sides if you prefer. But hands on thighs, otherwise, relaxed. Feet, semi-supine. We're going to start in neutral spine, blueberry gap under your low back. As you exhale, you're going to hug your ribs and hips towards each other. So you imprint and curl up. It's just a small movement. And then roll it down. So really focus on this movement being through your spine rather than your neck. There's always a little bit of pulling in the neck, but you're not trying to use your neck to pull you up. You're trying to roll up into this imprint position. That's 3, 4, 5. You're going to hold number 6. So draw it in, hold number 6, extend your arms forward, just hold it here, hold it, hold it, hold it. We could be doing the 100, but we're not going to because I want us to do scissors. Now, notice how this feels. If this feels good, then maybe you're going to want to do scissors and curl up. I'm not going to, because that's not the nature of this particular session. We're in sort of level 3 here. We're not going into the level 3 Pilates. It's level 3 intermediate Pilates. So I'm going to keep my spine down. The aim here is to control your core and your hips and your pelvis and your pelvic floor as you destabilize the whole thing with your legs. So let's give this a try. You're going to come up in single tabletop, and we're going to bring this into double tabletop because I know you're hard. Okay, so shoulders stay relaxed. Core is imprinted just a little bit. And breathing into your ribs. right leg comes towards the floor and then back up. Left leg. And then back up. The knee bend doesn't change. You're lowering from the hip, and every time you lower, it's wanting to pull your ribs out and untuck your core and release your pelvis and go into your lower back. You can just float this movement. You don't have to tap the floor. Already done loads. I mean, I'm burning, so imagine your core is on fire right now. So let's do one more, right and left. Congratulations if you managed it. Good. Right leg down, left leg down, full body stretch. Doesn't take long to make that shit burn, does it? Should feel good. Fabulous. Right. We're going to move towards some mobilization, and we're going to do that by we're going to stay in semi-supine to start with, and you can release it after this next exercise. I do prefer to come back to a stabilized spine after going for an imprint exercise. Scissors is tough. So let's dial it down rather than just let everything go. This should feel quite nice with a stabilized spine. So waist in just 30%, pelvic floor up 30%. So it's a really light, controlled feeling. Feet and knees are together. Exhale, you're lowering your knees halfway to the floor, keeping them stacked, and then coming back to center. And then over to the other side. So the aim now is to avoid rocking too much into the shoulders. We're trying to control this movement. Feet and knees are staying stacked. They're not separating, which means that as I take my knees to the side, the soles of my feet are facing the opposite direction. And I can feel that I'm controlling this work from roughly my navel, sort of more the base of the spine, actually, the base of the rib, not the base of the ribs, the base of the shoulder blades, but my shoulders are not significantly wobbling. I can feel a little bit of light work around my obliques, but also that deep core, the TVA, and corset muscle is getting just a nice stretchy bit of workout. So it feels nice to do. Let's just do one more on each side. I think that'll be just perfect. Lovely stuff. Finishing on the left. You could have been turning your head the opposite way if you wanted to. Right, let's bring this back to center. I'm going to heel toe my feet out a little bit wider and a little bit further down, and I'm looking to now bring this rotation more up my body. So still staying with a stabilized spine. I'm staying drawn in a little bit because I want to control the movement. Knees are going over to the right in 90-90, so my left knee is coming towards my right heel. Shoulders stay on the floor, gaze turns to the left. I'm only letting my hips roll after my knees have completed their journey, because I don't want this to be just my hips rolling from side to side. I'm going to get as much bang for my buck on this nice feeling of length. So when my knees are over to the right, for me, it goes from my left knee all the way over to basically up my left side, to my right shoulder, more or less. Depends on the day. Depends what I've done. There's not been any heavy upper body work today, so you don't feel as much in the upper back, but it's nice to rest the upper back. So for me today, this is all I need. But what I'm going to suggest is, if you need more, there's two exercises that you might enjoy doing. One is, of course, figure of four. In fact, I'm going to do that with you right now. But if after that you want a little bit more stretch, lie down on your side and go for chalk circles or opening windows, whichever one you prefer, and really just savor it. Don't worry about controlling anything. We're into like release and stretch out mode now. So I'm just coming back to center, feet hip distance apart, right ankle is over left, and you can make this work the way you want to. I'm going to pull my left leg in, relax my shoulders down, and extend my left leg up and do some ankle circles here. However, For you, maybe you'd rather have the pigeon twist. I know you love the pigeon twist. As long as you get a decent stretch into the back of your right hip and it feels good and it's giving you what you need, go for it. And you want about 30 seconds in whatever variation you choose. I've just about done enough. I've done about 7 ankle circles as well. So if you're with me, you're close to switching sides. If you were doing the twist, you're probably ready to switch sides, but you can take as long as you want. Good. Let's switch. Left ankle over right thigh. Let's get that guy in. I get a really good hip stretch these days. Lengthen up the right leg. If you're doing this version, if you want to do this version, you don't have to lift the leg if it takes away from the hip stretch. The nice thing about training calisthenics most of the time is that all of those muscles, they strengthen and they hug around your joints in a way that gives you a really, really nice, satisfying stretch. Getting into those heavy, difficult skills. Same with Pilates, does the same thing, helps. But if you're going to the gym, if you're working with the weights, if you're building strength, if you're controlling hypermobility, if you're powering through, even through your injuries and your ailments, my days, doesn't Pilates really support you? It's so foundational, it's so controlled, it keeps you well. And as long as you've got company, it's quite fun. As long as you don't take it all too seriously. Do it properly, but try not to get too involved. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Do the work. Full body stretch, finish off. Do the work, do it properly, but let's not try to drink the Kool-Aid. Lengthen out, enjoy, and you are golden. Come up carefully, more carefully than I just did. And I'll see you next time. Take care.